Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. This is John from Flippin' Ain't Easy. And this morning, wanted to do another live stream, Motivation Monday, kind of get you guys going. If you're watching this or listening to this while you work or do your shipping or whatever, just a little video. Hopefully, you guys are with me. You are going to maybe hopefully leave some questions for me in the chat like you normally do. So looking forward. I had a pretty good sales weekend, and I starting to add things up here. For me, it's more about my performance. I think a lot of returns back in February, and that coupled with some negative feedbacks that I got on my account that I didn't feel were warranted, and they got squared away and everything. So from that standpoint, that's fine. But whenever you have negative feedbacks or a lot of INAD returns and things of that nature, it certainly does hurt your account, and more so that I think that I gave it credit for. And of course, I, knock on wood, haven't had really any negative feedbacks lately or return requests lately, other than someone bought an item and didn't fit, that type of thing. And as a result, my sales have gone up like 25%, and they were down 25% over that period. So I'm very excited, looking forward to getting some of these sales, and of course, I've got new stuff coming in to list. So I'm fired up. I'm actually, as soon as I'm done here, I'm going to get out, finish a few more items that I had late last night come in for sale, and get those packed up and get out and just list away, right? And then I have today I have some lots that I'm looking to buy, and I'm just kind of looking forward to getting a couple lots purchased, to kind of build that inventory that I've been talking about. So I'm going to let you guys kind of roll in today, and we only have a few watching right now. It's kind of early for some. I realize that. Trying to make these live streams at different times of the day to get different audiences, that type of thing, to get new people involved. And of course, if you've been with us the whole time watching these live streams, certainly want you to participate, and your comments and your questions are always welcome. For those of you who are watching us on the live stream today, of course, leave your comments and questions. That's what I ask for. Hit that like button. That really helps the live stream and the channel. If you want to help and support the channel with super sticker, super chat, certainly it's welcome and appreciated. And if you're watching this after the fact, of course, comment down below, and of course, leave your question down below, and I will certainly do everything I can to try to get back to you with an answer to your question, or someone else might as well. I spent, I'd say, the good part of the weekend trying to figure something out, and I actually even made a video that I never released. This is one of those times where I spent about a good hour or so putting together a video, shooting all the footage, and then when I was done, I just said, no, it's not going to be released. And the reason being is the video really didn't answer a question. It sort of, I never found an answer to my own question, and I didn't want to put out a video where I didn't really provide a lot of value or a lot of information. I realized a lot of people want to watch videos that are going to help them in whatever topic you're discussing, and I didn't feel like I left the video answering the question that I posed to myself when I decided to make the video. And that is the mystery of course, eBay's algorithm, but more specifically, eBay's traffic. And for me, it was, I was doing a video on not the page views. And of course, I'm at a total loss. It's impressions, pardon me, impressions. And how they affect your account. Now, some of these stats, just for me, it didn't make a whole lot of sense, and I'm hopeful that you guys can help me out, help me figure out how abnormal my account is or how normal my account is. Now, if you go to Seller Hub and under performance and go to traffic, it'll give you a snapshot of how your store is doing. And if you kind of scroll down a little bit, it'll say impressions by organic versus promoted. And it'll also say impressions by placements. I'm trying to figure this out because almost every one of my listings have a 1% promoted, at least a 1% promoted. I know a lot of these after 30 days, what I've been doing is I've been going to the recommended when I relist, or not relist, but when I sell similar, I'll assign the recommended promoted rate for that. And I'm looking at this report and it doesn't make any sense to me. Impressions by organic versus promoted. So my organic impressions, those are listings that have no promotion at all, are 32.1% of the time I get impressions that are organic, which makes no sense to me. My promoted impressions is 67.9. I think that number should be higher. Now, it used to be, before eBay changed it, that when you promoted your listing, essentially it was two listings that were available to the buyer. It was your promoted or your sponsored listing, or it was just your basic organic unpromoted listing. And they changed that to where it's only one listing. So I'm wondering what's happening here is eBay is putting up an organic non-promoted listing. Of course, if that buyer looks at it, they're, I guess, not paying, or you're not paying the promoted listing rate when that item's sold. And then a percentage of the time, for me, it's 2-to-1, where promoted listings show up in the search results 2-to-1 over organic listings. But then I go over to the impressions by placement side, and it boggles my mind even more. Top 20 search slot impressions. So that's, now an impression, real quick, for those of you who are trying to figure out what I'm talking about. Anytime your buyer or potential buyer goes in and searches for anything, let's just say you have a blue shirt, your item, if it appears on their screen when they're scrolling or when the research results pop up, that counts as an impression because it appears somewhere on the buyer's screen. Well, the top 20 search slots is where you want to be. That's basically, as soon as they hit search, your item is going to appear somewhere on their screen. For me, on my items, only 3.7% of the time does an item of mine ever appear in the top 20 search slots. Now, if you can get that item in the top 20, I think the stats are like 75% of the sales are within the top 20 listings. Of course, if you're buried in page 2, 3, 4, and beyond, it's going to be harder to sell your item. Well, for me, what's weird is it says 3.7% of the time I'm in the top 20, but the rest of the search slot impressions, anywhere from 21 on to infinity, my items show up 15.3% of the time. So that's less than 20%. So what's happening the other 80%? My items aren't coming up in search. Now, I show a number of 81% for non-search impressions. That's like someone buys your item. You know how eBay does this thing? They buy your item and they show a bunch of items that are similar, to hopefully, I don't know why, maybe change the buyer's mind and get that cancellation. But, those listings at the bottom, those listings, or if you are, eBay says, recommended viewing items for you, this kind of thing. 81% of my impressions are from that and not from search. So I'm just kind of, I'm not understanding what that's about. I can understand top 20, you have one number and then the remaining pop up in the rest of the slot impressions. So this is telling me that 80% of the time, or over 80% of the time, my items aren't even coming up in a search. Now, I'm wondering if that is maybe due to the fact that they're talking about all searches and my items just don't meet the criteria. So what I'm curious is, if you can either put it in the chat or comment down below, take a look at your traffic numbers And your impressions by organic versus promoted, what's your ratio? I'm 32 to 67 is what my ratio is. And then what do your numbers look like? Your top 20 search slot impression percentage and the rest of the search slot impressions. So I don't want to release a video like the one I scrapped over the weekend when I can't even answer those questions. I really think this channel is great where we can pose questions to each other, and you guys help me figure this out. But I didn't think it was fair to you guys or any new people watching the channel to um, give you a problem and not give you or offer you an answer. And I don't pretend to know everything here. I can say, yeah, the basics, your title, your photos. I can keep saying that, but I think there's more to it. And I'm hopeful that someone who's really mastered this can maybe, hopefully, you're part of the live stream. But if you are watching it after the fact, put some information in the chat or the comments. Help me understand this, because I'm going to try to get down to the bottom of this. And once I figure something out, I'll give you guys an update on it. Want to say hi to some people here. We have Jay Money, who just gave the channel $10 super chat. Thank you very much. That certainly is appreciated. I appreciate you. Thank you for hanging out with me this morning. It means a whole lot. I tell you, we have about 30 people watching right now, and there's quite a few that have left some comments in the chat. First, my awesome wife, Jenna. Good morning, Flippin' Fam. Hope your weekend was fabulous. How was your Easter? Jenna and I went with some friends out of town. We had a good day, and it was a great day out here in the Vegas Valley. I'd say about 80 degrees, hardly any wind, which it's been, if you live out here or been out here, it's been a wind tunnel out here lately. So yesterday was definitely a very, very good day. Of course, still worked, got my shipping done when I got back, had my drafts ready so that, I didn't have to worry about it, launched my drafts while we were out. And it was an okay sales day for Easter. How was your sales day yesterday? I heard a lot of people were having slower sales. And of course, it makes sense. If people out and about and not at home, not thinking about buying stuff on eBay, then your sales are going to be a little slower as a result. We have Flippin' Goodies in the house. I just hit a return that was sold for parts or repair on eBay. Still let them return it. Yeah, they'll do that. It doesn't really matter. I mean, you could say, look, this thing is broken into 1,000 pieces. It'll never work. And I'm selling this item for parts or repair. And that buyer can open an INAD, item not as described. And it doesn't matter if you have no returns set, which of course we've talked about many times in this channel, how it really doesn't make sense to have that policy. But you can have all that set up and all that stated in your listing, and they open that return and you have to accept it. You have to pay for the label. You have to bring it back in and give them their money back. So, it stinks. I know. I had a story, I think some of you guys may know, where I had an item. It was like a little iPad kind of tablet, an off-brand tablet. It was like maybe a $50, $60 item. And I said, look, this thing doesn't work. We can't even power this thing on. It's broken. And if you want it for parts or repair, 15, 20 bucks, whatever. Well, they got it, and cool. They got it to work. They figured it out. And they found that it was password protected. So because it was password protected, and I wasn't able to provide them the password, of course, it wasn't my tablet. We bought this in liquidation. They opened an INAD because I never disclosed that. Well, how am I supposed to disclose it if I can't power it on to begin with? So, eBay's kind of weird that way. You just got to take the return, take the lumps, and, just deal with it. Flipping Goodies. You refunded the buyer and did not have the item. Oh no. So the thing that you should try to always avoid is eBay requires the seller to or requires the buyer to return the item. And of course, maybe you didn't want to pay for the return label, but you always want to at least take care of that part. Put the onus on the buyer to return the item to you in hopes that maybe they'll just keep it, time out. Maybe they don't want to be bothered with returning the item, but you've done your part within the time frame to get them that return label. Of course, if it gets sent back, then you have that 2 to 3 days to refund the money to the buyer. But I wouldn't even refund anything until you've had a chance to look at it, inspect it, make sure they're not sending you back a box of rocks, no matter what they say, no matter how angry they are. There's a process that eBay wants you to follow, and you should follow for your own protection. So make it a learning process. There's no, at this point, no incentive for the buyer to return the item back to you. You really don't have any recourse once you refunded the buyer. We have JRKR 1964. Good morning. How are you today? We have Austin in the house. Thanks for hanging out with us. We have Kevin. How you doing, Kevin? Hope you had a good Easter yesterday. Let's see. We have Ed, the reselling writer. How you doing, Ed? Prairie Pond. Good morning, everyone. Winter Crow. Thank you for finally you can join us on one of these lives, huh? Morning from New Jersey. Morning, John, and morning, Jenna. Lilacs Seller. Good morning, folks. How are you today? And of course, Jay Money left the super chat. Thank you for hanging out with us this morning. And JRKR says mine, and that is 4.8. I thought that was low. Now that is the, I'm assuming that's the top 20 search slot impressions. And I think that number is low, but I'm wondering what that means. Does that mean all searches on eBay, whether they're looking for a dress and you don't sell dresses, and of course you won't be in the top 20 because of that. Does it mean that? Or if they're looking for headphones and you sell a couple headphones, and only 4.8% of the time is your item going to be shown in the top 20. So it just, of course, this is the thing about eBay. They put all these numbers out there, like here's all these great numbers and reports we want you to look at, but we won't tell you, other than if you click on the little I next to the thing, we won't tell you much about it or how to bring it up or what's a normal number. Because I'm looking at a 3.7, that's low. I mean, of course, it says it's up 0.9%. So I was at like 2.8. And I'm just wondering what that means. Of course, maybe if you have a larger store, your numbers are going to be higher. But I'd like to hear from you guys what your numbers look like. That would help me understand. Douglas Kent says, I believe all impressions data is skewed by eBay to convince sellers that promotion is necessary to sell successfully. It may be, but if we don't know what we're looking at to even know that we need to up our, up our promoted listing rate, how are we even supposed to make heads or tails of it? Victor Wawiorka, good morning. How are you? We have SMP postcards in the house. Thank you for showing up. We have Marsha Clark. Good morning. Let's see. Ed says mine is 14.4 organic and 85.6 promoted. Okay. 1.8% is top 20 and 8.8 is the rest. 89.5% is non-search impression, which is actually shocking for me, wondering where exactly my impressions are coming from. So yeah, I don't understand. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense for me. It's saying that pretty much 4 out of 5 times my items are going to appear somewhere else. Like, you bought this item, you may want to consider these items. And that's not where I want my items to be. By then the buyer's done maybe buying that item. They have maybe no interest in that blue shirt anymore. They've already bought the blue shirt. And now you're going to show my blue shirt. So it's alarming to me that the first 2 numbers aren't higher for most people. And maybe it's low for everyone, but eBay needs to do a better job of explaining that, I think. Jay Money says, you excited about your upcoming golf trip? So I now know who Jay Money is. How you doing, Julio? I'm just looking at your photo. My buddy Julio. I am excited. Too bad you're not going to hang out with us for the week. But it's going to be a very fun trip. We go every year to Parker, Arizona, to the Colorado River. There's about 80 of us that are going to be out there playing golf and hanging out for about 4 or 5 days. And definitely, I'm looking forward to it. Jenna's going to be here holding down the fort. Thanks to her for doing that. But knowing me, I'm still going to have my cell phone, still going to have the app, and I'm still going to work while I'm out there. believe it or not. Um, let's see. We have Ed, the reselling writer. I has crazy sales in eBay and Poshmark. It surprised me so much since it was Easter and a neutral feedback because the buyer hoped the shoes were going to be cleaned. So I'm assuming you did clean it and it just didn't come out as clean as what the buyer was expecting, even though your photos probably show the shoe before they buy it. Let's see. We have David Norman. Auction professor did a huge test of whether promoted versus non-promoted worked. No difference. He also did a huge test of adding recommendations versus not adding recommendations. No difference. So, I mean, are we saying it's a sham? I mean, it just is a system, and it wouldn't surprise me that eBay's putting out something that doesn't work. But you know, it just has to make sense. If you're asking sellers to pay an extra 2, 3, 5, 10% or more on their final value fees, and now we're paying final value fees, promoted final value fees on shipping and taxes. Don't you think you need to do maybe some type, put a page together explaining what all these mean? Because this is alarming for anyone. Now, maybe my numbers are normal, but for anyone to have search results where 20% of your listings don't come up at all, that's kind of what it's saying. Your top 20 for me, 3.7%. The rest of the search slot impressions, 15.3%. You know, maybe I'm trying to sell my items just like you are. To know that 4 out of 5 searches, my items aren't appearing anywhere. Now, are those searches, and this is what I want to know, are these searches relevant to the items that I have in my store? Or are they just items I don't have and you're counting those against me? I don't understand. So, of course, there's many gurus out there. Whatever you guys can help me with is appreciated. Victor Wawiorka, 14.8 top 20, 67.4 rest of search, and then 17.7 non-search. So that falls in the line of more what I would have expected. Are you promoting all of your listings? Are you doing it at their recommended rates? Would like to know more about, maybe what type of items are you selling? That would be helpful. And of course, Victor says, I would not even consider paying for promoted. So that tells me you're not even doing promoted. And these are all organic listings. Yet, if it's saying that you're about 80%, a little over 80%, your items pop up in search. So that's very interesting. And then my wife says that, yes, I'm a researcher. When I question something, it's because I genuinely want the answer. I want to improve. I want to get better. I don't want to operate in a system where I'm constantly guessing on, what can I do better? Now, of course, there's only so many things that's within your control. Your title, your photos, your complete listing, completing item specifics. Your price plays a very important role. I actually had someone say that nobody looks at the best match search anyway. They do a lowest price search. But you can't say that, because yes, your savvy buyers will know to do the lowest price first search, but you can have your buyers who don't look at that kind of stuff. They do the search, they see their item that they want within the first 20, and then they go with it. Sort of like, Amazon, the buy box thing, right? You don't always have the lowest price in the buy box on Amazon, and people will buy that item, even though if you click on more buying options, there sometimes is a lower price, and you obtain the buy box through a number of factors. And of course, they leave that a mystery, just like eBay leaves this a mystery. And I may never figure this out. eBay is very tight-lipped about anything that affects your performance. Again, I mentioned the fact that at a recent seller check-in, I asked the simple question: how does a negative feedback affect a seller's account within the first 48 hours of receiving that negative feedback? And they refused to answer the question. So how are we supposed to get better if we don't know the rules? It's like playing any game and you're just winging it. And I don't like doing anything when I'm winging it. Ed, the reselling writer, shoes showed exactly where they were going to arrive. I'm guessing it wasn't as clean as the buyer thought. Well, what can you do? You're going to take your lumps, and it's going to be very difficult for you to run a successful eBay business without receiving an upset buyer once in a while. You're never going to make everyone happy. Marcia says that her organic is 20.6 and promoted 79.4. So that's a 4 to 1 slanted towards more promoted. Top is 3.4%, top 20. And then the rest of the search impressions, 15.2 and then 80. So you fall in line with mine. Your numbers are very close to mine. I have about 2.1 million, actually 2.7 million impressions, which are up 2.4%. Now, these numbers are over the last month. And of course, I would think that the first 15 to 20 days of this report are just garbage. I'm looking at some of my on this chart, and as we continue, I'm sure these numbers for me are going to go up, the number of impressions, at least for my store. But the percentages should probably be the same if I'm not doing anything differently. At least that's kind of what I'm thinking here. But maybe I'll never get the answer to this, but I certainly didn't want to put out a video over the weekend, leaving you guys just as confused as I am right now. So just giving you an honest assessment of, these numbers and what they mean to me, and hopefully they mean something to you guys. And Julio keeps throwing money at the channel. Thanks, dude. I owe you lunch. I'm gonna take care of you next time you come out here. Hopefully you're gonna be out here for the World Series, so we'll hook up. SMP postcards, sell-through rate is around 2%. Quantity is what moves them for me. I have over 30,000 listings of postcards on eBay. That's awesome. That must be very easy to list as well. David Norman says eBay is also does not work well in Google search, even when your exact title is searched. It's hit and miss for me. I've noticed sometimes my items will pop up in Google search, and I do know that they really require you to have a very clean background, like a white background, to appear in their searches. But I'm just talking right now about eBay search. Where does your item appear at all in eBay? And it's sort of puzzling to me. So on Monday, I'm still wondering about it. I'm hopeful that someone's had some insight on this and can share it with the channel. That's what I'm hoping for. Victor sells antiques and collectibles. So that's Victor has the high number of slot impressions and non-search impressions as compared to mine and a couple others here. So that's interesting. Maybe it's category specific. I don't sell a lot of collectibles at all. Really, I don't. Whatever pops up in my liquidation pallets is what I sell. So maybe it's category specific. Ed, the reselling writer, says, I think it really depends on what we sell. You and I sell things that are pretty common to get and find. I think data would be different for people who sell highly desirable but low competition items. I'm kind of wondering what their eBay's top categories look like. If you sell like sneakers, just sneakers, maybe purses, watches, trading cards. I wonder if you have a successful store, what your numbers look like there. And then JRKR 1964 says, sorry, but I'm not going to fill out 40 item specifics for a low dollar item. And yeah, it's that extra work that is a pain. I got to tell you, I mean, I've never been diagnosed, but I think there's a little bit of OCD involved there, because I see, when I go to my summary, I see that number. And if I see there's a number of listings that say, hey, we want item specifics, I spend the time. I keep thinking that eBay puts that information there. Here's what they want. It's like a check-in, a summary, what eBay wants you to do. And if you leave it there, you ignore them, then I think they're not going to reward you. That's kind of in the back of my mind. It's something that eBay is asking you to do. And while for most of us, it's just a pain, some of us choose not to do it. I choose to do it because I just think, anything that I can do to the listing is going to be better than not doing it, right? Of course, I'm losing time. I could be doing something else, but that's always going to be in the back of my mind, just like these numbers are. This really bothers me. The fact that I'm looking at these impressions, am I doing enough promoted? Am I doing too much promoted? Will I ever be able to improve these numbers? Am I just kind of racking my brain for no reason? And which is why I'm bringing it up today. Douglas Kent says, I don't do promoted listings. I've got 9.4% top 20, 83.9 rest of impression. So you're at 6.7 non-search. So like eBay recommends this item, you're only in that 6.7% of the time. That's very strange. And you don't do promoted. But see, the thing is, I've gone without promoted, and my sales have taken a nosedive. My impressions have taken a nosedive. Maybe it's because I sell what you can consider highly saturated items. Maybe that collector, maybe you sell collectibles, that collector is going to look for your item whether it's promoted or not. And of course, it wouldn't make any sense to promote those items. Ricardo how you doing, Ricardo? Good morning. Greetings from Orange County. Did you run into any problems filing your 21 eBay sales for tax year 2021? Today's the deadline for the last minute filers. So yes, get your taxes filed today. Spend the time. I hope you're not waiting until today to get it done, but thanks for bringing that up. It's done. I did that about 3 weeks ago. And for me, I do my taxes every year. The toughest part for me is getting the data together. So whether someone's doing it for me or if I'm doing it myself, the toughest part of tax season is just getting all the deductions, getting all the cost of goods, getting all the various things that maybe I forgot to label. I have GoDaddy bookkeeping. I pay like $140, $150 a year, and I link all of my accounts to them, and they go in and categorize all my expenses, all my income coming in from eBay, and of course like Amazon and things like that. And I then go in and make corrections and make sure, because sometimes it can miss some expenses, miss some deposits, and make sure it's all right. But that's a pain. That takes a while. And if you're not doing that throughout the year, which I didn't do this year, I kind of waited until March, actually beginning of March. And then I'm like, oh, I got to get this together. And then I found that I was spending literally hours on the weekends just trying to get it all in place. And then when it came to getting the return done, it took literally just a couple hours to get it done. That's not a real problem for me. And then Julio, the World Series of Poker, for any of you guys who are poker players, is coming up. It's May 31st to July 15th. So I'm sure that missed a bunch of you guys. You guys don't care about that, but one of the things that I like to look at. SMN postcards, top 20, 3.9%, rest 18.8, non-search 77.3, and then organic 30.3, promoted 69.7. So, again, I'm starting to think maybe it's category specific, but it just boggles my mind. Maybe we can all figure that promoted is just a sham and maybe stop doing it. But my sales are fine. Yes, I'm probably paying more in fees. And I think it's genius how eBay now, of course, takes your fees as you go. Instead of sticker shocking you at the end of the month to say, wow, I'm spending over $1,000, $2,000 in eBay fees and labels and all that stuff at the end of the month. If you go back and check your invoices now, because most people don't have a need to check since the money's being taken out, you're going to be like, wow, I'm paying that much. I advise everyone to do it. But and for some of you, that's going to make you not want to promote your listings. But what's that going to do to your sales? There's some sellers who have popped in on these live streams, and they swear everything that they sell, not only are they promoting, they're promoting at above recommended, and they're knocking it out the park. They're making sales. So there's that balance between waiting for the right buyer, not promoting your listing, or promoting it at a very low rate versus promoting the heck out of your stuff, selling at smaller margins, selling it quicker. And I'm still hunting for that balance. For me, it's something I'm constantly looking to improve, and that's one of the things I'm trying to figure out. Mom of three, living frugally. Hi everyone, late but here, but well, at least you're here. Thank you for showing up. I appreciate that. And Julio says hi, Mom. So I guess Mom's watching somewhere. Victor Wawiorka, searches results are dependent on category and override words in the title. Okay, so like I said, category specific. But I'm wondering though, those impressions, am I getting penalized for someone looking for that watch that I don't have up for sale. I don't have a watch for sale, and because of that, I'm not appearing anywhere in search. Or are these numbers specific to the kind of items that I'm selling only, or is this as compared to all eBay searches on the site? That would be helpful to know. I would feel better if it was the latter. If we're talking about all searches on the site, including, postcards and things like that. I don't have any postcards for sale, and of course, I wouldn't be anywhere at all in search on that. And I'm thinking that might be what it is. So I guess as you diversify your items, broaden out what you're selling, you're going to appear in more searches naturally. And Marcia says you can adjust this diagnosis out 90 days. Look at the calendar icons above the report frame. You can. I just wanted to make it easy for everyone. As soon as you click on that report, to what do you see? Because I really want to know what your numbers look like. And if looking at just the last 30 days, it defaults there. We're looking at apples versus apples. And I just want to know. And I think whether it's 90 days, I think those numbers, the top 20 search slot impression numbers and the rest of the search slot impressions numbers are going to be very similar to each account. Let's see. Ed says sneakers are good on eBay because of the zero fees over $100. Now it's 8%. People are going to different avenues, and Whatnot is actually taking a lot of eBay's business. Yeah, of course, that affects their numbers. That does affect their numbers. And I don't know if you guys saw some of this Whatnot stuff. For those of you who haven't really checked into Whatnot, I checked on a couple things on it, and it's very intriguing. I mean, you can have, let's say, a box of shoes that you're selling, and maybe the plan was for you to go out in your garage or your workspace and to take the photos and to put the listings together. On Whatnot, just take a pair of shoes, put them out. You have a camera live streaming, maybe on a table, and you're saying, okay, we're going to start the bidding off at $1 on these whatever kind of shoes, and you're showing the different views, kind of like a QVC kind of thing. And that auction goes for like 10 minutes, and you're showing the different angles, and the item sells. And auctions are, in my mind, I thought were something of the past, at least with eBay. You're moving those items, and yeah, you might sell the item for under your cost. And I think this is where a lot of YouTubers that have a following kind of, in my opinion, skew the numbers a little bit, because if you don't have a following, you're not going to have as many eyes on your items when you're running those Whatnot auctions. But just to watch some of these YouTubers who've done this, they put a video together, like Rally Roots did one, to sell just a box of stuff they just got. And, they made money. They made maybe, I'd say 10 to 20% less than if they would have put it on eBay waiting for the right buyer, but they're moving that product. And that's very intriguing to me. I just don't know, they deal with shoes and they collect their collectibles and that kind of thing. But for me, I sell a wide range of different items. So, I can't go on to Whatnot and say, okay, I'm going to sell these shoes, and now I have a hard drive to sell you guys. It's not going to work. I mean, you really need to sell in a niche that the Whatnot app supports. So go check it out, but I think Whatnot is going to take a lot of the younger generation away. If eBay has ever been trying to promote itself to the younger generation, which they haven't, they're definitely not doing it by just staying the same old eBay. Maybe they should just scrap their entire auction system and go to a streaming system like Whatnot and say you can either do a regular buy it now listing like you've always been able to do, or if you want to go in and do an auction, we've changed our auctions, so now they are 30 minutes, that type of thing, 10, 15 minutes. But unless eBay starts thinking on that level, they're going to lose a lot of their younger customers. I can tell you that. No One Designed 2. Hey, John, late to the show. Mornings are busy for me drafting and sourcing. I get it. And that's kind of, I worked this live stream out around my schedule today. Selfishly, I have some sourcing that I need to do, and it's based on a time that I have to get out there and, do some research and bid on some items and things like that. And I thought, you know what? I scrapped the video I was going to launch with impressions. I may come back and circle around and make that video once I get some answers. But I thought, you know what? We'll just do a Monday morning motivation. And hopefully just talking about eBay motivates you. If I have to sit here every Monday and tell you why you should be motivated, then maybe you're not doing the right thing. But, to have a video like this every Monday, every other Monday, just to kind of get the eBay discussion going. I know for a lot of people that gets people in the mood to list. Sometimes it kickstarts you. That transition from a holiday weekend, where you're hanging out with friends and family, not thinking about eBay, over to now I got to get back to work and do eBay, and maybe just talking about it while you're working, or listening to this live stream while you're working will kind of get you motivated to really kick some butt. That's the goal. Winter Crow says, promoted, not promoted, item specifics. eBay will still ghost categories for sellers' listings and give attention to what they want or to know. But again, this site is not transparent. This company is not transparent. It's like buying a board game without instructions. Let's figure out how to play it, right? And then, of course, as you talk to more people, you watch live streams, you watch videos, you start to learn, okay, this works for them, let's try this. But we shouldn't be doing that. There should be, eBay has places you can go under help and contact, but it's not entirely clear. It doesn't say, here's what we want you to do. Here's, if you sell a niche, you should be doing this. If you, sell this way, you should be doing that. Of course, they're never going to come out and say, look, there's certain times you should never promote, because of course they care about their bottom line more than they care about your bottom line. And that's the truth behind that. David Norman says, we always deal with the same question in life, business and personal. Is the juice worth the squeeze? Sometimes you definitely do need to take the personal time away. You got to have something to look forward to maybe every other weekend, maybe a yearly thing. If you're a seller that just sells, maybe you enjoy reselling. If there's something outside of eBay you enjoy doing and you're ignoring that, I think it's hurtful. I think you need to get out there, take the time to do things that are going to make you happy and get your mind off of the grind. eBay's a grind. And I think it's going to kind of bring you back more focused and rejuvenated if you're able to get away once in a while. Victor says, I found out that I had more shipping labels expenses than what eBay showed, because labels that were created on eBay but paid via PayPal does not show up on any eBay reports. Right. So when you get your taxes together, hopefully you've done that already, but if you're kind of scrambling right now to get that done, your labels that you pay through PayPal instead of paying through with your balance when you're running them on eBay, or maybe you're buying them on Pirate Ship or other sites, you definitely have to go and get that data. Don't just rely on the data that eBay's giving you for your shipping labels, because you're missing out on some deductions there. Let's see. No One Design 2 says, promoting your listings are for saturated categories. If I was in that market, I would absolutely use promoted. Whether it helps or not every bit of action on your end helps. I'm trying to do everything that I can. I have 620 items in my store, and I look at these items and I think, you know what? I've sold these items many times in the past, and they're just sitting in the store. And I really think that account health has a lot to do with it. As over the last 2-3 weeks, haven't had any returns, haven't had negatives. I think I only have one negative on my account for the history of the account that's stuck. And I think that eBay kind of puts you in timeout. Now, I'd hate to think, and maybe it's just me, but because I only have the data that I'm looking at, I hate to think that eBay's putting me in timeout for doing videos on eBay. I'm sure that it's possible. It's possible. They can hit a button saying, "Hey, this account, we're going to just put in a timeout mode," and their sales are going to be slow, and as a result, not getting any sales. I can tell you, I made videos before, and that weren't putting eBay in the best light, And 48 to 72 hours later, my sales like were none, next to none. My traffic was the same, but my sales were pretty much nothing. So who knows? Who knows? So I think a lot of times we say that YouTubers benefit on eBay from making videos about eBay, but I could say in my case, I don't think eBay likes me too much. Let's just put it out there like that. Austin says, I'm buying so much inventory, but I'm not listing anything. I feel like I'm just hoarding. I have killer items, but just not motivated because my normal job taking my time and making me tired at the end of the day. Yeah, Austin, it's like I was actually going to do a little video. I have all these video ideas that I want to do, but to kind of just take a look at the stuff that I'm holding on to, I'm hoarding too. I have, I'd say, about 10 items. They're larger items. They're larger ticket items, over $50, $60 items, and they're just taking up space in my garage. And, I had a little conversation with myself, and it's because they're a pain in the to just deal with, large items. I got one trolling motor for a kayak. It's the perfect time of year. People are buying that kind of thing. Um, and I'm going to get it listed, but the box is just shot. So I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to properly ship it. Am I going to try to prepare the box? Am I going to go out and buy another box? It'll probably sell for about $80 plus shipping. And there's really nothing wrong with it. And I have other items just like that where I might have to clean up and test out before I sell. And they'll go for 50 to $100+ and they'll sell probably quickly. But I then gravitate to my smaller, easier to list, easier to store, quicker listing items. And I think I need to maybe just incorporate some of those items that have been sitting around, and maybe one or two a day. Just get rid of them. Doing it is the hardest part. So once you convince yourself you need to do it, take the time to do it. No matter how tired you are, take an hour. An hour is not going to kill you, I don't think. And take an hour, do one or two. Do as many as you can in that hour, and you're going to feel better for it when you're done. An hour is not a whole lot. Take your favorite music, play it. You know what? You guys don't want to see me list. If you guys saw me list, you guys would probably unsubscribe from my channel because I'm out there singing away, high pitch tones, and it's horrible. But you know what? I'm in my zone, and it's what I do. And you got to find that thing, that what you do, that's going to get you just in a zone to where you're not looking at, oh, I've spent an hour or two. You're not going to feel tired. You're just going to feel fired up to list. And hopefully that gets you somebody motivated to list, knowing that I'm out there with my bad singing and all. I feel bad for my neighbors, that's for sure. And only on this channel will you hear sellers like myself talk about that, because I don't hear anybody on YouTube talking about how bad they sing and what keeps them motivated and gets them fired up in the zone. Why don't they just be honest about what affects our sales? Why keep it a secret? Good question. Why, when you say, okay, we're having a seller check-in and we want you to bring your questions, and people bring their softball questions and they're happy to answer those. But when you really bring a question that gets them to maybe reveal stuff they're trying to keep secret, they don't want to tell you. Why is that? It's not like I'm trying to take proprietary information. I'm not trying to start up my own eBay. I just want to know what makes eBay tick so that I can follow what you guys expect me to do and are asking me to do. And these reports, what do they mean? What do you want me to do with this information? Why should we have to collectively try to figure this out? Why should I have to stumble across someone who has figured it out before I can share that information with the rest of you guys? Why have the reports at all? Why not just keep that secret too? Don't give me data and not any real understanding of what the data means. That's just going to make me crazy. Ed, the reselling writer. That's exactly what I'm going to be doing for my Whatnot auction. Shoes I was planning to put on eBay. I actually going to be putting them on Whatnot. And you know what? Let me know if you can come back after you're done. Comment down below, Ed, after you've done some of these Whatnot listings. Let me know how it turned out, because I have, of course, I get shoes, I get not really collectibles, but I get things like clothing and shoes that I can, in some of these pallets that I get, and I could just put aside until I get enough to make it worth my while, and then go on and do a whatnot. I wish I really would have known about whatnot, say, a year ago, and I just didn't. I had a bunch of Macy's shelf pulls, new with tags. I ended up selling for like $2 per item locally, but I'm sure I could have. We're talking Free People, different brands like that, and I'm sure I could have sold them for more on a the auction site like Whatnot for sure. Let's see. Winter Crow says not a single promoted item I have ever listed, tried out, has ever sold. They're all collectibles, and I don't think you probably would want to do collectibles with promoted. I just don't think it. You're dealing with one of a kind items, and if someone's looking for that specific item, they're going to type that in the search. They're going to find it whether it's promoted or not. Let's see. Winter Crow says, Whatnot is just what eBay needs to get its act together. Being challenged by an up and coming popular new venue will definitely affect the number of active sellers. And, it just kind of strikes me that eBay is sort of just getting by with what they're doing what they have to do. I don't really think they're really bought in to this idea of making buyers pay immediately on best offers and that type of thing. I really think they're just dragging their feet. This is something they could have done years ago, but it's not that important to them. They're not in tune with their sellers, and it's obvious they're trying to run an old auction system out that's been played out for many, many years. And you have other sites popping up. You don't think that eBay didn't think of having live streaming auctions at some point? Someone in their boardroom maybe said, hey, let's try it. And they just said, nah, we don't have to do that. We're eBay. We're fine the way we are. They're not really looking for ways they can improve the buying experience, at least in my opinion. Looking at a lot of these other sites that pop up, eBay isn't new. I don't know who's working for eBay. I think that they have some pretty smart people. I mean, from these seller check-ins, they don't seem to be oblivious to how eBay works. So where's the forward thinking that what, social media is a thing? Years ago, social media is a thing. We need to incorporate social media more into what we're doing. We need to incorporate live stream videos into what we're doing, and not allow other sites to pop up and take your business. That just doesn't make sense to me. Victor says, I take what I can from your chats and apply it. The best that comes in mind is 5 listings per day routine. It works for me and gives me a goal. Yeah, 5 listings a day. If you know that you're going to be gone, like I was gone yesterday, I was out and about, and I'm like, ooh, I got to launch my drafts, and went into my app, launched the drafts within 2 or 3 minutes, and that's with bad reception. And then went on to the couple of those listings that I launched, sold while I was out and about. So I'm not always working here. I'm working on the go, and the customers come up and send me a message. I'm quick to get back to them on the app. That's why you should always have your app, or eBay app. I know sometimes you want to leave eBay at home. I'm only going to do eBay at home. I'm not going to have it on my phone, but you really need to make a point to have the eBay app on your phone, have it signed in so you can get those notifications when they come through. Let's see. Agree 100%, Winter Crow. eBay really is ignoring so many opportunities to please inventors or investors, and I believe they will lose top status for secondhand very soon, unless they already did. They're losing it, and the only thing that keeps eBay together, in my opinion, is there's no other platform that drives the traffic to fixed listings than eBay does. I've given up on auctions on eBay a long time ago, because the buyer mindset is, I want it now. I have a need. I have a want. I don't want to come back in 3 or 4 days and hope that my bid is high enough to get this particular item. And you can thank Amazon for that. As Amazon grew over the years, people were able to get their items tomorrow. I can go on to Amazon and order something right now, and I'll get it before 2:00. And I'm on the West Coast, so it's like 9 a.m. almost right now. But I can order something right now on Amazon and get it the same day. Um, that's appealing for a lot of people. I have a need now. I don't have a need next week. And this whole auction thing, whatnot. I want that now. I can get it in 10 minutes. I can wait 10 minutes. See if I can be the high bidder. That's appealing to people. And eBay, I guess, just doesn't see that. And what kills me is eBay promotes auctions still. And I know that because if you list in the app, it defaults to auction. So you have to go in, change it. And if you ever list on the app, you click off of the auction to a buy it now listing, and it literally takes 5 to 10 seconds for it to transition over from an auction to a buy it now listing. And it almost, if someone's not patient, they'd say, oh, I need to click off of here because it's not working. The app is frozen. But yeah, it should default to best offer, not auction, but it still does. And so eBay really needs to give up on the auctions as far as I'm concerned. I think it's you don't make as much money as a seller when you put your items up for auction. And unless you have higher ticket items with high demand, you're not going to get the kind of return you want, or it may not even sell at all. Winter Crow says, lucky for me, I have another way to sell that does not involve a computer, except maybe for research, have a tiny little brick and mortar shop where I can sell. Now that's awesome. If you can keep that cost low, definitely, that's the way to go. I was talking to Jenna. We were driving and she was talking about how, one thing she wants is to get some kind of a piece of land, maybe has a house already built where you can build like a little warehouse behind the house, maybe with a loading dock, and order truckloads of stuff, come in, drop it off, but you have an area separate from your house, because I'm working in my house. And that would be sort of the ideal situation. Now, of course, who knows what the future holds, but definitely having that little brick and mortar or that area that you can. Now, I don't think I'd be able to sell anything from a place like that, but I really didn't have an ambition to have people come to my house anyway to buy my stuff. Like you have a little brick and mortar, we have people coming in and out. I'm thinking more in terms of just getting a lot of stuff processed, maybe hiring 1 or 2 employees to help me process the stuff coming in. So that's something that down the road, I'm hoping to maybe do. But for now, this is what I got to deal with. No One Design 2 says, hey, John, quick question. Ever thought about doing a podcast? The reason why I ask is because I normally have a few people I follow and play while I work. Keeps me going. It passes time quick. Never really looked into it. I do know that there are some YouTubers who do have like an Apple podcast. I always kind of thought of Apple Podcasts sort of being like a thing of the past, or just podcasts in general. So that's why I never really thought about it, but something to look into, I'm sure. You can always go in, turn your volume up on this live stream and just let it run. Or, when maybe you're not able to make a live stream, these are about an hour long, and it's usually filled with eBay content and good listing. Well, I don't know about listing, maybe shipping material to listen to while you're shipping and all that kind of thing. You can listen to eBay. David says, I use my eBay, other sites, time to listen to my music and learning podcasts, brain feeding. There's times that I will listen to different YouTube videos, world events, things like that, things that interest me. But I find that if I can't find something that's at least a half an hour long, it's more disruptive than anything else, because then I have to stop, find another thing to listen to. I would rather just go take my library of 500 to 1,000 songs, hit the shuffle button, and it just plays. And then I'm just out there in my own zone. And then Winter Crow says, keep singing and heck with the neighbors. It's your unique work method. You're right. And Jenna has to put up with it. She'd rather hear my singing over some of the things I listen to on YouTube. I listen to sports and world events and things like that. And it's just depends on what I'm in the mood for. But when I'm out in the garage, and I only have like another month to really be able to spend time in my garage. For those of you who live out in the West, or more specifically out in the desert areas, you know that come May, June, July, August, September, it's going to be too hot to be working out in the garage, which is behind me. I have my little work area where I have a small photo booth. I'm not going to be able to avoid the garage during the summer entirely, but I'm not going to want to spend hours out there no matter what I have playing behind me. It's just going to be too much. And the reseller writer, I have my listing up, a preview video, and I only had to do one picture for the listing. Doing the actual listing takes about 1 minute. I'm going to do a video how everything goes. I've been thinking that's on Whatnot. And I thought that was more of just a live thing where you're showing the item live. Maybe you have a tripod holding your camera and you're, doing the whole QVC thing, with your hands, maybe get a hand model to show off your items, that kind of thing. But I'm interested to see how that goes for you. No One Designed 2 says, I used to deal with bulky items, but it's a pain. After a few years of doing that, I've moved to smaller items and I found a way to sell it faster. The trade-off is you have to try to sell more of it. Yeah, you're right. I mean, if you can get, like, for instance, I have that the HP printer tray. It's like a expansion. Some printers, you can expand the size of your printer tray, and those go for like $200 new. I ended up with 9 of them. I think I've sold about half of them, and those I'm good with listing and selling. They're really easy. They're ready to ship. I don't have to do anything. It's in the retail styrofoam inside their internal packaging, and I don't have to do anything to those. I can just slap a label on and they're good. I'm looking forward to items like that. But now I got to deal with boxing issues. This item doesn't have a good box. There's other items that are maybe returned. All these are returns. Maybe the item was returned in a state where I have to go out and clean it. It's just a pain in the butt. And then I got to test it. I got to know what I'm dealing with. Where I have, a new batch of items that come in, they're small items, they're easy to list. I'm kind of gravitating towards that. And it's the larger items just kind of just sit, unfortunately. And so I have a bad habit of doing that, something I need to get out of. Let's see here. Ed says you should really try clothing since you get those pallets sometimes. It just takes a lot of work. And from what I hear, the shipping is still hard to understand, but learnable. I will start putting, I think I have like a tub of various clothing items I get through some of these pallets. Maybe I will put those aside and give it a try, and so if you hear me, talk about it and, ask you guys to come over and check it out, then I'm doing it. But right now, I only have so many hours in a day, and I'm going to focus that time on getting the stuff that I really know how to list well and have been selling. And I'm going to focus on getting that done, focusing, on things that may work out versus things, work out. To me, I'd rather just focus on the time that I know I'm going to do well. Like if I run out of merchandise and I still have those clothes sitting, then, why not give it a shot? I have nothing to lose. Let's see. We have Douglas Kent, off topic, but all I see or hear lately are radio and local media ads for eBay Motors, pushing car parts, saying buy tires from eBay. What a waste of advertising money. Yeah. And, so now the flavor of the month is eBay Motors. The flavor of the month before was sneakers and watches. So it just makes me wonder, what are they doing? I mean, are they, yes, I can understand for a lot of you who sell on eBay Motors, this is good. It probably helps your business quite a bit. I know that Joe from the Crazy New York Driver Show talks about how his business has been great. And I can only attribute that to the eBay Motors commercials. But what about the other 95% of us? It used to be eBay would come out with ads that says, hey, if you can't find it anywhere, look at eBay. At least that's something. I mean, I don't want them to think of eBay as your third or fourth option, but at least they're promoting the idea that there's 95% of the other items that we're not talking about that are being sold right now on eBay. And if you need it, come check it out. But instead, those same people they're defaulting to Amazon and all that business. They're thinking of Amazon first before they think about eBay. Let's see. So Ed's first Whatnot auction is going to be tomorrow. Okay, awesome. Yaz A says items become hidden as if dead. It's been this way. Basically, we could end and do a completely new listing on old items. But what's weird though, Yaz, is my traffic is kind of going up. My impressions are going up a little bit. Items that I've had for months in my store that wasn't really getting any traction, they're selling. And, I just don't know what it is. I cannot place my finger on it. I have items that I think should have sold by now. They've been sitting even after recycling and doing the sell similar routine. So it's just kind of mind boggling to me. And I think my prices are competitive. I'll give you an example. I have I got 10 of these Koss. Now, Koss is a trash brand, but they're brand new in the box. They're wired headphones, and they actually sound really good, but I have mine priced very competitively. Now, you guys know I don't do free shipping. I don't do free returns I do free returns on smaller items, but for the larger items, I don't do free returns. I found another seller who sold 425 of these. They have the same title. Their price is $2 more than mine if you add the shipping and the item cost. I'm selling mine $2 less. They have free shipping. They have free returns. They've sold 425 of these things. I have 10. I have not been able to sell a single one. So what I did was I said, okay, I'm going to do a test. I'm going to go in. I'm going to change my price to where it's 2 cents cheaper than this guy's. I'm going to free returns, free shipping, which I don't like to do, but I want to do it for this particular case. And I'm going to see if that has any traction on it. I don't know if it's going to make a difference. I don't know why this person's been able to sell 425 of these. I refuse to think that, it may be a best match situation where his is coming up higher in search. But if you go in and do a price by lower, I'm going to come up higher than his will in search if that's the case. So why wasn't I able to sell at least one of these? So I'm going to take a lot of my multiple quantity listings as an experiment and see if I can get those moved by just simply making free shipping, free returns on those items. Thankfully, I don't have anything multi-quantity other than one listing, which I'm not going to touch. That is really going to be costly to ship. So Winter Crow says, don't forget to hit that like button, folks. It's right there. No effort. Takes you 3 seconds. And it's the only thing I really ever ask for me taking the time to make these videos. Hit that like button. I certainly do appreciate it. David says, I've been suggesting for a decade a yes-no flowchart for all buyer-seller problem resolutions. Nearly all item not as described and cases can be resolved. eBay doesn't give a damn about it. They don't. Again, coming from the corporate world, knowing that what the corporate mindset is when it comes to making changes, any change to their website, even a small one, takes capital. You have to pay someone or sometimes a team of programmers to change something, and everything that you change on a website could be a button, right? That button could work, but it could break something else. So you have to test that. So it's a process, and it takes money, it takes resources. And if it doesn't affect eBay's bottom line to make that change, it doesn't allow them to extract more money from you or extract more money from the selling process, then they're probably not going to be able to justify it, and it's probably not going to happen. Which is why I think they've been dragging their feet on this whole immediate buyer payment for best offer or similar items. And, I know eBay doesn't like me saying that, but if they really wanted it, if they really wanted that experience, that selling experience, it's not going to be a difficult change. It's just a matter of them doing it. They've had years to do it, and they're still dragging their feet on this thing. Let's see. Yeah, it says really slow yesterday, but great on Saturday. I had a great weekend until I think I had like a $200 sales day yesterday. I think I had on Friday, I had like a $700 day. I had a $400 day on Saturday. So it was a pretty good weekend despite the holiday, that's for sure. And No One Design says Amazon business model is instant gratification. Their marketing department forecast in the up and coming generation to be, I need it now, group and dumped tons of money on their next day prime. And that's the mindset of most people right now. I want it now. I can go to Amazon and get it now. Why can't I get it now on eBay? Let's see here. We have Wiki D Main. Hey, John, could you do a quick explanation of sell-through rates? When looking at a specific item at the thrift or in general, what's good and bad sell-through rate? That's another stat that I need to dive into. I can't sit up here and say that I am the guru of sell-through rates. I can tell you my average sales conversion rate. That's the quantity sold and divided. And this is the eBay explanation. The number of quantity sold divided by let me get it here by the total of page views from eBay and external page views during this time period. So I'm at like 2%. That's not very good. I think you want to be at like 5%. So the idea of sell-through rate is okay, your item is seen in search by the buyer. Something compels them to click on your item. Okay, that becomes a page view. So now they're looking at your item. And now what is your listing doing to get that person to buy the item? And then once they buy that item, that becomes a sale or a sales conversion. And mine's at like only 2%. So it's not very good. And I've got to work on that before I can really tell you what's better. I think what 3, 4, 5% is probably where you want to be. I'm leaving a lot on the table. So that definitely is going to be a video once I get all the information and once I fix my sales through rate problem. Of course, leave your comments down below. Tell me where your sales through rate is. Tell me what you do to maybe improve your sell through rate. And again, there's little things that you can do off the top of my head. I think the public coupon that appears at the top of your listing is really effective. They get into your listing. That's a page view. What's going to make them click on buying your item? Now, I think there's something that really needs to be said here. In the spring seller update, they've said something about there's like 40% of internet traffic and traffic through the searches are through bots, third-party programs, not human beings. They're weeding that traffic out. So we'll be able to get a better idea of what our traffic looks like. But you got the human factor anyway. You've got a lot of sellers that are looking at comps, right? I'm looking at a comp to see what people are selling this item for. I'm doing a search of my own. I'm clicking on your item to maybe sell similar. What percentage of that? Are you ever going to weed that out? Maybe weed those out if someone clicks on sell similar. So, the thing that I also didn't want to do with this channel is to give out my store name, because I know that I'm going to get a lot of views on my items, but it's going to hurt my sales conversion rate. So I think that's another reason why my sale rate is low. I have a lot of eyes on my listings. And whereas if I had a store that wasn't public or published, then maybe it would be a higher number. So I'm not going to beat myself up too much about that. At the end of the day, all these numbers mean nothing if I don't get any sales. So it's about how much do you want to make a day and how much are you making right now? And that may mean I need to increase the volume of items I have listed, the size of my store, increase the quality of items that I'm listing, get rid of, and I think this is another thing, get rid of the listings that are just keeping your store down. If you have that dog item that hasn't sold for months, maybe it's better for your store to get rid of it than to keep it sitting there waiting for that one person on earth that may find value in that item. Something to think about. Winter Crow says, where I'm at, it's a flea market with 40 buildings. Okay, that's pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome. So to have that extra place where people can come in and get their eyes on your item, I think that's just pretty awesome. As long as you keep that cost low, then the overhead low from having that brick and mortar, I think that's kind of where you want to be. So I'm kind of just scrolling through. Get a couple other comments here. Here's it. If it flips, it ships one. With all the stuff going on with Chris, that's Chris from Daily Refinement, getting suspended, you have to ask why. And just my thought, they don't want huge sellers because brick and mortar stores are just for that type of business. The more I watch his videos, I mean, he's come up with a couple videos since he's been suspended. And this is kind of the last time I'll talk about this because, I feel bad for the guy. Not trying to get views because of his situation. But from what I've seen, I think it really boils down to he did $2.1 million in sales and shoes, and it came out of nowhere. He said he kind of just went from not selling that kind of an item, making a lot of money. And the majority of the shoes that he was selling was like $100, $150, $200. I think if you remove every one of the prototype shoes out of the equation, he never sold those. Let's say he never sold those. He'd still be selling right now, selling shoes, selling clothing. I don't think it has anything to do with the volume of shoes that he sold. I think there's certain shoes that maybe Nike or Adidas or whatever the brand is didn't want out there. Of course, they give those shoes to certain people and they trust those people to not resell them. And then they find these items somewhere out in the marketplace. They don't want that item out there, which is maybe why they never listed that shoe to begin with. That shoe was a prototype and it always remained a prototype. It never hit market and they don't want it in the market. And they may have seen more than one occasion of this particular seller, in this case, Chris, selling this shoe or this prototype type of shoe. And regardless of what it went for, they wanted eBay to shut it down. And eBay is not going to lose that relationship with that brand over a seller, no matter how good of a relationship that seller has with eBay. I'm not friends with Chris. I mean, he's a good guy. He seems like he's a genuine guy. Watches videos like you guys do. And that's what I can kind of sum up from what they did to him. They knew he wasn't going to be able to provide any kind of invoice. They knew that those shoes were not, they didn't have a SKU or they've never been sold before. And they knew that there's no number of invoices he could provide that was going to be able to satisfy what they needed to show the brand that these were legitimate. It wasn't going to happen. Ricardo says, in your opinion, are the first 5 words in the listing title the most important for the algorithm? Yes, it is. And I got to admit, I've been fairly lazy when I do the sell similar. Sometimes I don't scrutinize that. I figure, well, this guy sold this item. The title was good enough and I just use it. But really, you got to get in there. Start looking at your listing. Model number doesn't necessarily need to be in the first 5 words. You see that a lot. An off brand, just a trash brand, doesn't even need to be in your title at all. Sometimes it's better to put what it is, because think about it in terms of a buyer. If a buyer is going to go in, I need a water heater. Are they going to put some third-party brand in as what they're looking for? No, they're going to say, I need a water heater. Well, what kind of water heater? Maybe they want one of the water, or the type that you don't hook up directly to water, that don't have a tankless water heater. Maybe they want something like that. So think of it in terms of what your buyer is going to type in search when they're looking for your item, and try to focus on those first 5 words. Now, maybe you have a big name brand like Nike or Adidas. Definitely you want that in the first 5 words for sure. Maybe the first one. Bakersfield Pickers, I just started full time, and do you think you get more views when you have a store or not having a store? I'd like to think that eBay would reward people with stores. You're paying a subscription every month for, somewhere in the algorithm, like where you have bad behaviors, like a lot of negative feedbacks, or you have a lot of returns, how they penalize your account that way. I would like to think that they boost your account by having a store, but you get the coupon every quarter for supplies. You get the ability to do markdown sales. And I think that's a very important. I've had, like, my markdown sales will end. I have them run from the beginning of the month to the end of the month. I have to remember at the next month to go in and put a new markdown sale. And I will notice, like, that next week after my sales ended, if I haven't made a new one, my sales go down. So I think you have to utilize those tools. And if you don't have a store, you can't utilize those tools. So I think it's worth the investment. Let's see what we have here. No One Design 2 says, selling a pair of shoes for $25K a pop, that hit a red flag in eBay if you don't sell consistently. It does. But you're dealing with someone who has an account that's making um, thousands upon thousands of dollars a month. You're talking what his average sale day is, what, 100 to 150 items. Um, he's already passed those red flags. Now, I'm assuming he's selling those shoes on the same account. I don't know if he's maybe was selling those shoes on a different account without that kind of activity, but he already had a lot of activity. So it's not the same as someone popping up out of nowhere. See, eBay, the whole idea behind eBay doing this is they don't want some guy coming out of nowhere, making an eBay account and throwing $20,000 shoes out there, making the sale and ripping someone off, or selling a counterfeit item that the buyer may or may not figure out. It may or may not go through the authentication process. I just think that it has everything to do with the pressure that a brand or brands has placed on eBay to stop this particular seller from doing this again. That's just my thought. We'll never know. He will never know, because all he can do is kind of guess. eBay's not going to tell him why, which is unfair. I think they should have at least done that. But and if they did and he's not sharing it, that's his business. But it leaves you and I to kind of guess and we're learning from this experience of his experience to try to avoid it. The only thing I can take away from that is, if you get something that's labeled as not for resale, even if it's years later and it's a bigger brand, it's not worth it. Find a different site to sell that. Maybe it's a whatnot thing, right? A collectible. Do it there and not do it on eBay. So guys, we've been an hour and 20 in. We have 44 people watching. I just want to thank you guys for, being a part of this program. I look forward to doing live streams whenever I can. Of course, I want to mix that in with the number of videos that we do. I think we had a pretty healthy discussion today between, the topic that I brought up and your questions and comments and all that. So I want to thank you guys. Thank you, Julio, for the super chats. I'm going to take care of you when you come out here. But I do these videos because I want to learn as well. It's kind of selfish on my end. I want to help you learn. I want to pick your brain just like you want to pick my brain. And it's more of a community thing. So that's kind of why I do these. And I think that through, the information you share with me, it's just as helpful as the information I come out here and share with you guys. So again, thank you. Hit the like button on the way out. If you're watching this live, if you're watching it after the fact, hey, just do that, whether you subscribe or not. If you're not going to watch my videos, you know what? Don't subscribe, but at least hit that like button because I certainly appreciate it. If you appreciate the time and effort we take to get this out on YouTube, then at least do that for me. I'd appreciate it. So guys, impressions, it's just a mystery on eBay. It's one of those things where eBay, I guess they don't want us to know, but it's yet another example of how flipping ain't easy. And I want you guys to have a great start to your week. Get out there, throw your music on, sing, no matter how bad your singing is. It can't be worse than mine. And have a great rest of your week and make those sales. Take it easy, everyone.